sure you've noticed some people around you who just know how to do things very effortlessly. Like they could be managing a job, a family, a business, and a few hobbies on the side and still have time for everything without feeling overwhelmed. And every time you catch up with them, it's like they have 10 new updates to give you, and you're sitting there wondering, what is the cheat code to life that they know that I don't? Because the rest of us are struggling to even get through a few basic tasks in a day. We end up feeling so overwhelmed. We have a to-do list, we have all the productivity hacks, but somehow, somewhere, the bridge is missing because we want to be productive, we want to take a lot of action, but we're just not able to. And in that moment, the worst mistake we make is thinking that we are missing a skill. That's not true. Actually, we have more than enough skills to unlock that super performer within us. That skill is already there. The problem is you're not aware of that skill. You're not sure of how to use it, and that is why it stays dormant. Well, today I don't want to bother you with another productivity hack or another new revolutionary system that's going to change the way you do your work. No, that's not what we are focusing on. Instead, I want to go deeper into the simple things that actually work, not the complicated systems that sound fancy but never actually do anything for you. So if you're ready to finally level up and take that action in your life to unlock your best version, well, this is exactly the video for you, because I'm only going to talk about one skill, but I promise you this: if you can master this one skill, everything, and I mean every single thing in your life will start to change for the better, because it doesn't just have an impact on your career or your financial growth. It also has an impact on the way you show up in your relationships, on the way you show up for yourself, and all across the board. This is the trigger, the catalyst that will create the changes that you've been desperately looking for. So if you're excited, stick around, because we're now going to dive into understanding what the skill is and how you can implement it. I want to start off by sharing where the motivation to make this video actually came from, because for years I've been stuck behind just one idea. And that idea was, I need to do more, I need to be more productive, and I'm not doing enough. And in search for a solution, in search for a way to make that happen, I ended up trying so many things I've lost count by now. I've read many books, I've tried many productivity tools, I've tried many different time management systems, and in each one of those cases, right, the same problem crept up after a few weeks, maybe a month, but I guess 30 days was all I lasted with any productivity system that I've tried, because ultimately I would come to one realization: maintaining the system, maintaining the complexity of it all, trying to plan everything out, well, that's taking more energy than doing the actual work. So I would leave that aside, but instead of learning my lesson like I should, I would go in search of another new system, another new way of making myself productive, another new way of doing more. And after years of being stuck in this cycle, right, I finally gave up. I was like, there's no tool, nothing's working for me, something is wrong with me, and I'm just gonna have to adjust to the fact that I'm not a productive person and I cannot be ultra productive. Now I recognize that was a limiting belief that I was holding on to. But by giving up in that moment, I actually unlocked the real truth and the simple skill that I'm about to share with you right now. Because the moment I quit my search to be more productive, here's what has happened. I've actually become 10 times more productive. I'm doing more work than I've ever done before. I've coached hundreds of people. I'm writing more than ever. I'm learning and studying more than ever. I'm showing up for so many different things. I'm making videos like this. I'm doing webinars. I'm hosting workshops. And in all of this, right, I do not have a system where I plan things on a fancy calendar. I only use my calendar to schedule my meetings with people. That's it. But apart from that, my plans are made on a simple thing: a pen and a paper. That's it. I write what I have to do, I stick to it, and I make it happen. But no, the secret, the special skill is not writing on pen and paper. It's to understand the principle behind why that works. And here's the reason. As human beings, we crave simplicity. Our mind is structured neurologically in a way that the more complex a system or an idea is, the more difficult it gets for us to keep track of it and to keep up with it. Think of it like this. Imagine you have $100 in your bank account and you have to choose between spending that $100 on 5 different activities. Now there, it's easier to make a decision, right? You can divide them by $20 each, or you can divide based on what's more important, what's less important. But that's a pretty simple choice to make, and you don't have to worry a lot about how to spend those $100 that you have. But now imagine you have only $100, but you have 150 things to take care of through that $100 only. Now what happens to your stress? Now what happens to your ability to manage things? It suddenly goes out of the way. You're having a crisis here because your resources are limited, but the amount of things that are demanding your resources are way too high. And so what do we do here? Well, here's what we do. Instead of using that $100 and actually dividing it up into these 150 things, we take $20 from those $100 to invest in a system that can help us sort out these 150 things so we can know what to prioritize and how to prioritize. Sounds pretty absurd, doesn't it? Well, exactly that is what we do with our time. Instead of understanding and recognizing the fact that yes, there are way too many things that call my attention, we don't look at the fact of how we can organize it. Instead, we look for a fancy solution, a system, a new way of productivity that can help us magically sort it all out. But what happens is, you remove $20 from those $100. You remove 2 hours from your 24 hours, and now you're feeling even more stressed trying to manage everything with this new idea that you're trying, or with this new way of making a to-do list that you read somewhere on the internet. And I know it's exhausting because I've exhausted myself over the years trying to do this. So how can you solve this? What can you do to get out of this problem forever and make sure that even without a to-do list, you're super productive and you're actually creating results and you're like one of those high performers who seems to magically get things done? Well, listen up. I want you to lean into the screen here because what I'm about to tell you is very, very important. When you do something, make sure that you are 100% present to it. That's the simple skill. That's the secret. I know you expected something very big, right? Something revolutionary, something you not heard of before. But no, it's actually the simple things that work the most. Because in my study of successful people, in reading hundreds of biographies, some of them are right here behind me on my bookshelf, I've recognized one thing. Successful people prioritize simple principles. Failure people prioritize complex systems so they can use that complexity to justify their eventual failure. This is a very important thing to understand, so I'm going to repeat it again. Successful people use simple principles. Failure people use complex systems so they can justify their failure through that complexity. Oh, it was too hard, that's why I was not able to do it. Oh, I had so many things to understand in managing that project, it just didn't work out. That sounds like a plausible excuse. But now imagine if you said this. I only had one thing to manage, I still failed. That doesn't sound very good, right? That doesn't reflect very well on your reputation. So rather, what we choose to do is we prioritize the complexity because it gives us an excuse to justify our failure. But if you really want to be successful and if you really want to be a high performer, let go of that need. Stop chasing complexity and start focusing on the simple stuff instead. And for that, I want you to begin with just this one skill of being centered in this moment right now. So here's what I want you to do. As you're listening to this video, right? Take a deep breath with me. Hold and exhale. Just by doing this once, you've already noticed that your mind has taken a pause from the constant chatter and the constant thinking from everything I was just telling you. It may just have been processing that information, but it was in a chatter. The moment you took this break to take a deep breath, to pause, and to be here, things calmed down inside. Your energy centered. You became more focused. And this literally is the only skill you need to unlock massive ability to perform. Because finally, your mind has a way to focus. Your mind has a way to channel its energy into just one thing at a time. But for that, it needs a bit of a reset throughout the day. A few deep breaths are your reset. Take them. Take that pause. Count in for 5 seconds. Hold for 5 seconds. Then exhale for 5 seconds and hold for 5 seconds again. Be really aware of how your body is responding to those changes, and you will have way more focus and way more energy to do the task at hand. And something that used to take you 2 hours to do before, well, in 30 minutes you'll be able to do it because your mind's forces are aligned with the action. And this is the secret of almost all successful people. They know how to channel their energy, forget about the rest of the world, and just focus on that one task at hand. Now, as I'm making this video for you, well, that's the zone I'm in. I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm not worried about what I have to do tomorrow. I'm just here sitting in front of the camera lens, trying to talk to you and helping you gain this clarity. And that's why the time it takes me to make a video has literally gone down by 90%. I don't even need a script anymore. I can just turn on the camera and start speaking because that's how centered I've become within. Earlier, it would take me at least 2 hours to write my weekly newsletter articles. Guess how much time it takes me to now write, edit, proofread, and then publish the article? 30 to 40 minutes. That's it. All of this gets done in just 30 to 40 minutes because I channel my energy in the right way. I focus inside, I center myself, and the moment my fingers are clicking on the keyboard, I'm not even thinking about my YouTube channel. I'm not thinking about my coaching clients. I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm just on that center idea, on just that one thing. And I know it feels hard because so many things call for our attention throughout the day, right? And we get disturbed. And then how do you go back to the center zone again? Well, it's simple. Again, just take a few deep breaths, bring your attention back to this moment, and start working again. This alone will completely change the way you show up in your life and even in your relationships. Because how many times do we spend our lives with our loved ones, but actually without them? We are there physically, but our mind is somewhere else. We are listening to them and we're like, yeah, you're right, that's right. They can sense that we are not present in that moment when we're just nodding mindlessly. Our mind is somewhere else, our body is somewhere else, we are just not present, and the relationships start to break, the relationships start to turn sour. Well, why is that? Only because people are not giving their 100% and they're not present to it. But now imagine this. The next time you're sitting with someone you love or someone you care about, you're just there with them. You look them in the eye. You take that deep breath of yours, and for a few moments, you're just fully present to them, making eye contact, listening to them, not just nodding your head, but truly listening to them. What kind of a difference would it make in your relationships? How much better of a friend or a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a husband or a colleague or a boss would you become if you master this one skill to be present with people and listen to them and make them feel seen? Well, you'll charm people way more than any words you can use. Because if someone can give you the feeling of being listened to, if someone can give you the feeling of seeing you, of course you're going to like that person. Of course you're going to have a great relationship with that person. The best part is you can become that person for everyone in your life. So start practicing just this one skill. It may not give you a complex system to work upon, but trust me, it works way better than any any complex system that you can try, because it aligns with the way our minds work. The more simpler the decisions are, the better we can do things. The more focused our mind is, the better it performs and the better everything gets. So I want you to make me a commitment, and I want you to make me a promise, which you'll write in the comment section below right now and share with me. What's the one area of your life where you're going to practice being more centered? You're going to practice being more aware and being more present. And what results are you expecting from that? That alone sets a tone for your mind to create those positive results. So start the chain here. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'd love to be inspired by you. And hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, to get more videos like this every single week, where it's not just motivation, it's about practical stuff that you can actually implement to unlock the next level of your life. And share this with that one friend who's always wanting to do more but is never able to. I'm sure this will help them. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you next week.